there was a neighbor, not a real close neighbor, but it was on the way out there. And there was this stream, and it was winter time. We got married in January. And so there was water up. And the only way I could get across is if he carried me. And he did carry me across.
Yeah.
And
I painted a picture of that oak. It's hanging in the house.
and so anyway, we got home, and it was almost dark evening, but they didn't have any electric lights or anything, but they had lamps. And his mother, this was fairly late in the evening, his mother, they had a quilt that came down from the ceiling in the living room, and she was quilting. She worked her entire life, and she died. How old was she when
47. Well, she had high blood pressure.
Yeah.
They didn't have the medicine and all that.
But she did. She never stopped.
But I'll tell you another interesting story. There's that when Granddad West, my mother's father, and her mother got married, this would have been back in probably 1885 or 95, because she was, or 1897, because she was born in 1899. He had two solid gold, soft gold wedding bands. And when my mother's mother passed away at birth of her third child, well, Granddad kept that ring, and when Mama got old enough to wear it, he gave it to her. She must have been about 14 or 15, but it was a little big for her, and she lost it off on the school ground up there at that one schoolhouse, and just was lost. And as rumors gets around amongst the kids, you know, that one of the kids had found it, they told it, he had taken home. But Granddad West, my mother's father, found out about it. But he approached this guy. She got the ring back. He got the ring back, but he had cut it and made it bigger. But Granddad got the way. So then Mom and them got married, and Dad was wearing the ring in 1919, I guess it was, when they moved out on the old farm. And it was a little bit big for Dad, but he wore it. And he was pitching hay out there one time, in the wagon, and it slipped off. It was out in the orchard, and there was about a 4-acre piece of land. And up at this corner where he knew he lost it, he could never find it.
Years and years.
And this was in 1919. In 1943 or 1944, my brother Henry and brother Billy were over there plowing that field. And they had a plow that turned to earth, and they was way down 6,000-7,000 yards, way back to the other corner of the field. And we always looked for that ring every time we plowed. And Billy he noticed it. When the dirt turned over, he noticed something real shiny.
Wow.
So he stopped the horses, and he found that ring.
He found it.
And that was from 1944 back to 1990.
Whatever happened to that
And my
ring?
mother
Where's
was
the
sick in
ring?
bed at that time.
Yeah.
And I remember they ran up there and give it to her.
Where's the
And,
ring now?
yeah,
Hold
the
on.
ring, but that where it had been placed together, it had came out. But the gold was still there. And so Mama got her ring back. Then when she passed away, she gave it to, Rosalie got it. And now Rosalie gave it to her daughter. So it's still in the family.
Susan has
Now
it.
that's
in
a
the
believe
family.
it or not story.
That is
That
amazing.
when you was plowing that field, when you would turn it, that would turn and throw it about a foot.
Wow.
Then you'd go around and it would throw it about, and it finally got at the other end of the field. Now that's a believe it or not story.
That
Did you
is
say your mom cried when she got it?
That's it.
He
You know-
asked you if your mom cried when she got it.
Yeah, well, I was in the army, I was overseas, but Henry and Billy, of course Billy's gone now, but Henry tells a story quite often, about
That's amazing. You can almost write the children's story about the lost
I think
ring.
his family had more interesting stories than any other family, because
So much happened.
everything was pretty much the same all the
Well,
time in my
I don't
family.
know, I think my mother, we didn't go to church. There was no church.
Well, there was churches.
Well, in Fort
Not
Dixon.
in his.
Well, you have to walk for them. Who's gonna get up and carry a big kid in your arm and one in your head, hold it on to your skirt tail and walk 5 miles to church? You can't do it. But she always taught us right from wrong. She always taught us that, you know, to be good. She did.
And didn't you say that when, like, church tent meetings would come rolling through, that she'd take you to them?
What they call revival.
Oh, in the
Right.
summertime at the school, when when school's out, they would have revivals, you know. We would go to that. Then on Saturday night, in the summertime, we'd get in a wagon. It was 4 or 5 miles into town. We'd go into town in a wagon, and there was a church there, pretty close in town. And Mother, they'd have Saturday night service. You know, I guess it still had to be on Saturday night because we never went on Sunday. And she'd spread a blanket out there. And a church still standing, and I can remember laying on the blanket. So I must have been over 3 years old, but I can remember going to that church when I was 3 years old.